So today we have Mr. Jagmohan Mehta, pass out of the year 1954. In fact, first batch that passed out from IHMCTA in Mumbai, and he's currently residing in Jamaica. He's worked. He has had a tremendous past. He's worked with major brands like Hilton and all. So, sir, how does it feel to come back to the college after so many years? It's like half a decade, more than that actually. So, sorry, half a century actually, or a decade. But how does it feel to be back here and mingle with all the students?
Let's put it this way. When I compare it to when I arrived in June 1954 at school and what I say now, there's a difference between what I would say chalk and cheese. When I arrived in the school, there was nothing there except four walls. There were no labs, there was no theater, there was no kitchen, nothing. And there were only rooms. And when I see the beautiful buildings, I see the facilities, I see a hotel building and so on. So, as they would say, we have come a long way, baby. And so it is a very good feel that the pioneers, if I may call it that, must have done a good thing, you see, for future students and the government and so on to support. And now you cannot turn around in India where you don't see one kind of hotel school or not. And I remember in '54 when we just arrived, as I said earlier, nothing but empty space, and that's what it was.
Okay. So, sir, in all these years, how have you seen students grow, or rather, some people put that the student quality is gone down, some people say the students have changed. So what change do you see in the type of student that used to come back then and right now?
See, right now, let's put it this way, when I joined, there was no competition. It was the first year, there were 63 students from all over India, mostly from Bombay, but we had students from all over India, anywhere from the age of 16 to, we had a gentleman who was band leader at the Taj Mahal Hotel, and I think he must be in his 50s. We had high school graduates, and then we had university graduates. But now it's very competitive, and it was a one-year course, now it is a 3-year course, and so on. So it's a long way. It's a very great difference. And as I said, we applied, we were accepted, and everyone was done. But it doesn't happen any longer.
So, sir, you had quite an illustrious career over the past years. So, could you just give us a brief highlight of whatever you accomplished so far?
See, when I finished the first year, then a little later, it became a 2-year course, and also it was recognized by the government of Bombay, which it was not. So I rejoined with a full-time job, a full-time student. Anyway, I passed again the first year and the second year exam, and did very well. And then in 1958, I decided to go to Cornell University to do my graduate studies. So I was the first student from the school who went abroad to study, and I was the first one to go to Cornell as such, you see. Then I got my degree there in 1960. I was very fortunate that I was able to get my degree in 2 years instead of 4 years. And I met all the requirements. Then I joined Intercontinental Hotels and worked in the Caribbean. I was sent to Puerto Rico as assistant food and beverage manager. And that's where I met my wife. And then I worked with them for about little over 6 years. And I thought that I was not smart enough, maybe not brainy enough. So I decided to go and do graduate studies. So I went to Columbia University to do my master's in business administration. And I came back again to Puerto Rico as the manager of El Conquista, the hotel, which at that time, in 1968, was a $30 million, 372-room hotel. So you well imagine the lavishness, the quality of the hotel and so on. From thereafter, I joined Hilton. And I should say the summer holidays I had worked with the Hiltons. So in 1968, I joined Hilton, and then I came to 72 to Jamaica. Then I managed Jamaica Hilton and worked for there 4 years. And then I was transferred to Puerto Rico again by Hilton International. Then the government of Jamaica wanted some help in their hotels, so they asked the State Department of the United States if they could Hilton take on my services to government of Jamaica. So then I worked for the government of Jamaica for 3 years, still on payroll of Hilton, and managed 4,000 hotel rooms, 14 hotels. And I went back to the Hilton. Then I managed the Hotel Caribbean Hilton, which was the first Hilton hotel built in 1949 outside of the United States. And when I went to Caribbean Hilton in 1980, it was the largest hotel in the Caribbean at that time. Now there are hotels, 2,000 rooms and so on all over the Caribbean. And then I left there in 1985 and it worked in Nassau, Bahamas, but then came back to Jamaica in 1992 as the executive vice president of a Jamaican international company called Super Clubs. And I worked with them until I retired with them in 1979. So most of my working life has been in the Caribbean. I have worked physically worked in Puerto Rico 5 times, Caribbean 3 times, Curacao 2 times, and the Bahamas 2 times, and Hawaii also.
So, sir, what advice would you like to give to the students? Like, it's a competitive market and you've seen it all. So.
What can I say? All I can say is that this is the only industry I know of where you have to work very hard. And when I mean by work very hard, I mean in terms of hours, not physically work or something like that. It is your presence is required literally all the time. So if you want to succeed, you have to work hard. And sometimes your family life, social life, goes to the wayside. And so people have to make that judgment. How far they can do that or they cannot do that. And the hard work does pay. Also, I think, because it happened to me, the hard work does get recognized. Someone will recognize that you are far better than someone else you see. So that's all I can say. Yes, a degree or so, all it does is open the doors for you. When you tell them, no, you are graduate of College of Catering or this institution, all it does is open a few doors for you and let you in. After 4 or 5 years, nobody cares. Nobody asks, where did you study? Nobody asks me when I go for interviews or something like that, where did I study? Or my colleagues don't ask me. They're not interested. They want to know what did I do before and what can I do now. So that becomes important. So all I can say is degree helps in the beginning. After that, all up to one person, oneself.
Any more questions?
You've actually summed it up pretty well in like the entire thing.
So thank you very much, sir, for having a small conversation with us. We feel really blessed and honored to have your presence amongst us and enlightening the future generations to do what they can do the best. Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you very much for inviting me, and I'm very pleased. Thank you.